Hello and welcome to EduSathi. Continuing our topic of algebra, we'll move towards the concept of coordinate geometry. Coordinate geometry means you are plotting the points on x and y coordinates. Now if you look at what you have on your screen, this is known as coordinate axis with the origin at 0, 0, positive direction of x-axis, negative direction of x-axis, and vertically we have y-axis. So this is positive direction of y-axis and this will be the negative direction of y-axis. Coordinate geometry means the geometrical figures would be represented with the help of coordinates. So their vertices, their endpoints, the points of intersection, everything would be represented with the help of coordinates. By coordinate, I mean x coordinate and y coordinate. So let me suppose this point as P and let me call it as 3 and 3. Now what does that mean? This point is at a distance of 3, 3 from both the axes. X coordinate is known as the distance, the horizontal distance I should say, from the origin. So this will be the value of x and the height, or I would say the distance of this point from the x-axis is known as y coordinate. So x coordinate is the horizontal distance and y coordinate is the vertical distance that is there from the other two axes, horizontal distance and the vertical distance. So there's certain set of formulas that you have in coordinate geometry. If you remember these set of formulas, you'll be able to answer the question very, very quickly. However, if you goof up with the formulas, you may end up with a wrong answer. So let's look at the set of formulas. The first formula that we'll have would help us in finding the distance between the 2 points x1, y1 and x2, y2. Again, let me take this coordinate thing. There are 2 points which are there. This point is x1, y1. There's another point which is x2, y2. Now let me call this point as P and this point as Q. If I join PQ, I get a line. If I join PQ, I get a straight line. Now, the distance PQ or the distance between the 2 points would be given by the distance formula, which is x2 minus x1, which is the difference in the x coordinates, square of it, plus y2 minus y1, square of it, and whole square root. So if you want to look at what is the proof for this, you can form this triangle. The base would be x2 minus x1, which will be the difference in the x coordinates, and the perpendicular would be y2 minus y1. So this will be the hypotenuse for a right angle triangle whose base is x2 minus x1 and whose height is y2 minus y1. Slope of this line. Now this line PQ has a certain slope associated with it. Now what do you mean by slope? Slope refers to inclination of the line towards the positive direction of x-axis. So inclination of this line towards positive direction of x-axis is your slope and is measured as m. Now the slope of this line, I can find out if 2 points are given. The slope would be given by difference in the y coordinates over difference in the x coordinates. So the formula that you have to remember is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. This is a difference in the y coordinates. This is your difference in x coordinate. So slope basically refers to with a per unit change in the horizontal, how much is your change in the vertical. If I change my horizontal by 1 unit, how much is your change in the vertical that has taken place. Now this slope m is given by tan of the angle that it makes with the positive direction of x-axis. So if I just extend this line, this is the angle that it makes. So tan of this angle would be actually equal to the value of y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Now, if you are finding out slope for two lines and the slope comes out to be equal, this means the line that you are referring to are parallel lines. Parallel lines have the same slope. If the product of the slopes of two different lines comes up to be -1, the lines are perpendicular. So this is very important thing. If the slopes are parallel, if the slopes are equal, the lines are parallel. If the product of the slope is -1, the lines will be perpendicular to each other. Now the slope of both the lines would be found out by using the same formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus y1, or if I know the angle that it makes with the positive direction of x-axis, I can find the tan of that angle and get to my answer. Now the slope can tell you the nature of the graph. If your slope is positive, that means that the angle that it makes would be between 0 and 90. That means for an acute angle that it makes with the positive direction of x-axis, the slope will turn out to be positive. And whenever the slope is positive, the line will be like this. This angle will be an acute angle that it will make. If your slope is negative, that means the angle that it is making with the positive direction of x-axis is 90 degree. The graph of the line that you would get would be something like this, because this angle has to be greater than 90 degrees. Let's look at another formula that we have. Now we have drawn a line PQ already. We have found out the length of that line. If I just go back, we have found out the length of that line and we have found out the slope of that line. Now the third formula that we are going to learn is, if there is a point that divides the line, which is the line PQ, x1 joining the 2 points x1, y1 and x2, y2 in the ratio m:n internally. Internally means that the point is on the line. Point is on the line that we have. That is given by, this is the section formula, and the formula is mx2 plus nx1 over m plus n. That will be my x coordinate, and your y coordinate will be my2 plus ny1 over m plus n. This will be your y coordinate that will be there. So if I just look at the figure again, this is x1 y1 and this is x2 y2. There is a point which is dividing it in the ratio m:n. Now an easier way to remember is m will be multiplied here, n will be multiplied here. So the formula that you will get will be mx2 and n into x1 divided by m plus n. It's a kind of a weighted average that you are taking. The second will be m y2 plus n y1 over m plus n. Again, the weighted average of y coordinates and the weighted average of x coordinates is what we are taking to find out the coordinates of a point which is dividing the line PQ in the ratio m:n. If the same point does not lie on the line but lies externally, divides externally. Externally means the point is not on the line, the point is on extended line. This is very important, extended line. Extended line, let's again take an example. This is the line PQ that you have. The coordinates of P are x1, y1, x coordinate and y coordinate. For Q, it is x2, y2, x coordinate and y coordinate. Now there is a point A which divides this line in the ratio m:n. That means I know PA over QA is m:n. So here PA over QA, that means this ratio is given to you as m:n. Again, the formula would be very similar to what we have done. Now n is associated with x2, y2, so n will be multiplied with x1, y1. M is associated with x1, y1, it will be in fact multiplied with x2, y2. It will be a cross multiplication case. The only difference that will be there would be, instead of a plus sign, I will have a minus sign here. Here I had a plus sign all the way. Here I will have the minus sign. So it will be m x2 minus nx1 over m minus n. That will be the x coordinate, and similarly you will be able to find out the y coordinate as well. So this is known as external division. That means the point is dividing the point is dividing the line externally, and this is the formula that you will use for an internal division. That means the point lies on the line. If m is to n that we have taken, we take it as 1:1. That means I'm finding the coordinates of the midpoint. Midpoint means it is a thing which is dividing it into two equal parts. So this is x1, y1. This is the coordinates of P, x1, y1, x2, y2, which are the coordinates of. So there is a point which is dividing it in the ratio 1:1. I follow the same formula. This will be multiplied here. This will be multiplied here. Here it is 1, 1, so hardly makes a difference. The coordinates will be x1 plus x2 by 2 and y1 plus y2 by 2. This is what the midpoint formula is. x1 plus x2 by 2 and y1 plus y2. This will be the simple average because the contribution is same. Simple average of the two coordinates that you have, also known as the midpoint formula. Let's move ahead and look at the case of a centroid. This is actually an extension of a midpoint formula, therefore we have placed it here. The centroid of a triangle whose vertices are x1, y1, x2, y2, x3, y3 is given by. Now if you look here, I have a triangle. Now triangle is composed of three sides. The coordinates of this point is x1, y1. The coordinates of this point would be x2, y2, and the coordinates of this point would be x3, y3. It could be a triangle like this, or any case, this could be the y-axis and this could be the x-axis. I'm just taking an example for a triangle. Now, centroid. I hope you remember what is a centroid. The centroid is the point of intersection of medians. So centroid is the point of intersection of medians which will lie somewhere here. This point denoted by G. The coordinates of this centroid would be given by, again, the simple average of all the three vertices. x1 plus x2 plus x3 by 3. This will be the x coordinate, and y1 plus y2 plus y3 by 3. This will be the y coordinate that you will have. So x coordinates average gives you an x coordinate, y coordinates average will give you the y coordinate for this point, which is the centroid of the triangle. Centroid is the point of concurrency of medians. The properties of centroid are discussed in detail in the chapter of geometry. Now this centroid divides the median, this median, in the ratio 2:1. 2 parts towards the vertex and 1 part towards the base. Let's move ahead to the next set of formulas. The next set of formulas is writing the equation of the line. How do we write down the equation of a line whose either coordinates are given or some of the other information is given? So till now you have learned how to find out the length of the line, which is basically your distance formula. You have been able to find out the slope of the line. You have been able to find out the coordinates of any point on the line. Any point on the line means which is dividing the line internally or externally. The next thing that we are learning here is how to write down the equation of the line. So there are various ways in which an equation of the line can be written depending upon what is given to us in the question. So the first way I'm writing the equation is a slope intercept form. That means there are two things which are given to me. One is the slope of the line is given to you. Slope of the line, I hope you remember, was given by tan theta, also was equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. The second thing is intercept. This intercept is the intercept on y axis. Now if you look at this line, let's just look at this. The line goes like this. Now this is written as y-intercept. That means the distance between the origin and the point where it cuts the y-axis is known as y-intercept. So C here is your intercept, M here is your slope. So you fill in the values of M and C, you will get your form of the line. So for example, if the slope of the line is given to you as 2 and the y-intercept is given to you as 3, the equation of the line would be given as y is equal to 2x plus 3, or you can write 2x minus y plus 3 is equal to 0. This is how the equation of the line can be written. So there are two set of lines that are given to you in this question. Let's just give me 1 second. We'll just look at those set of lines that we have. So these are the set of lines that are given to you. 4x minus y minus 3 is equal to 0 and x plus y minus 2 is equal to 0. Now here, if you just look at it, I can write it as y is equal to 4x minus 3. So that means this form has been written when the slope is given to you as 4 and the intercept is given to you as minus 3. Similarly, if you look at the other form of the line, it will be y is equal to minus x plus 2. So the slope of the line is minus 1 and the intercept, y-intercept is 2. The other form that we will be doing is an intercept form of the line. Now the slope-intercept means one slope is given and an intercept is given. But only an intercept form of a line means both the x-intercept and the y-intercept should be given. So two things minimum should be given to me to find out the equation of the line. The intercept form of a line would be given by x over a plus y over b equals to 1. Here a is the x-intercept and b is the a is the x-intercept and b is the y-intercept. So let's look at this equation that you have, this line. This will be my x-intercept and will be given by a. This will be the y-intercept and will be given by b. So for example, a value is given to you as 2 and b value is given to you as 3. The equation of the line will be written as x over 2 plus y over 3 equals to 1. You can take the LCM and rearrange the terms to get to your answer. The next thing is, I am given the slope and instead of an intercept, I am given a point through which the line passes. So the equation of the straight line with the slope passing through the point with the coordinates x1, y1 can be written as y minus y1 equals to m into x minus x1. Now m is the slope of the line which is given to you. x1 and y1 are the coordinates of the points which are given to you. So it is similar to what you have just studied, y is equal to mx plus c, y minus y1, because instead of the intercept, you are given a point. So it will be y minus y1 equals to m times x minus x1. This is also known as the point slope form. Point slope form because one point is given to you and the slope of the line is given to you. This is the slope intercept form. This is the intercept form because both the intercepts are given to you. This is the point slope form of the line. It can also be the situation that you are given the 2 points through which the line is passing. So there are 2 points which are there. The line is from P to Q, x1, y1, x2, y2. You have to form the equation of this line. Now here you are given the 2 points, so the equation of the line will be known as 2-point form. That means 2 points are given to you to form an equation. The equation of this would be given as y minus y1 is equal to, what is this? This is the slope. m into x minus x1. Similar to the point slope form, now instead of the slope being directly given to you in the question, you find out the slope separately and then write it down. The slope is given by difference in the y coordinates over difference in the x coordinates. So the point slope form of an equation is y minus y1 equals to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, which is actually the slope into x minus x1. You will fill in the points x1, y1, x2 and y2. This is the 2-point form because there are 2 points which are given to us to form the equation. Now, if there are 2 lines given to you, those 2 lines may intersect each other. Now, this point of intersection is a common solution that you have for both the lines. This point xy would be satisfying the equation of line 1 also and equation of line 2 also simultaneously. It is known as the simultaneous solution and will be arrived when the 2 equations are solved. So solving 2 equations is very simple. For example, the equations that you have is 4x minus y minus 3 is equal to 0 and x plus y plus minus 2 is equal to 0. Solving means you either have to make the coefficients of x or y same, add or subtract to get to the value. So if I just add them, what do I get? 5x equals to 5. So that means x is equal to 1 is the point of intersection. I put x is equal to 1 in any of the equation I like. I'll get the value as 1 plus y minus 2 is equal to 0, or the value of y would come out to be 1. So 1, 1 is one such point which satisfies the equation of line 1 and line 2 simultaneously. You can put the equation, it will be 4 minus 1 minus 3, which is actually equal to 0, and it will be 1 plus 1 minus 2, which is also equal to 0. So this 1, 1 is a common solution to both the equations. The next formula that we have is to find out the length of perpendicular drawn from a point x1, y1 to a line. So you have a line, you already know the equation of the line, ax plus by plus c is equal to 0. Now what are you drawing is, from an external point x1, y1, you are drawing a perpendicular. I am not saying a perpendicular bisector. You are drawing a perpendicular from this point to this line. This length of the perpendicular I can find out, and the length of the perpendicular would be given by, this would be, you fill this x1, y1 point into the equation of the line. So it will be ax1 plus by1 plus c. Obviously this will not be equal to 0 because the point x1, y1 does not lie on the line. Had the point be on the line, it will be satisfying the equation of the line, and therefore the distance would be 0. But since this point is not on the equation of the line, the numerator that you will get would not be equal to 0. Now divide this with the square root of a square plus b square, which are the coefficients of x and y, square root, and I am taking a modulus because the distance can never be negative. So this will give me the length of the perpendicular drawn from a point to a given line. An easier way to remember this, put the point on the equation of the line, divide it with the squares of the coefficients of both x and y. Length of a perpendicular from origin. Now when I am talking about, this is a line which is given to me, ax plus by plus c equals to 0. Origin means this is what? 0, 0. So this point would be put on the line. So what I actually will have, it will be a0 plus b0 plus c. This term will actually give me an answer of 0. The only thing that I will be left with would be c divided by under root of a square plus b square. So length of the perpendicular from origin is given by c, and again a modulus of that, over square root of a square plus b square. That is the length of the perpendicular from origin. Now, if there are 2 parallel lines given to me, parallel line means the distance between them always remains constant. So this distance would be given by, this is similar to finding out the length of perpendicular from an external point to a given line. So the two lines which are given to you which are parallel to each other. Parallel means their slopes are coming out to be equal. Slopes, that means a1 over b1 is equal to, I should write it like a1 over b1, let me like a1 over a2 is equal to b1 over b2, not equal to c1 over c2. So this is what you have for parallel lines. Now this distance would be given by, you take a point on one of any of the lines, put it in the equation of the second and divide it with the square root of a square and b square. So the formula that you will end up would be the difference in their constant terms, which will be c1 minus c2 over square root of a square plus b square. Now if you take any point x1 y1 here and if you put it in the equation of this line, what you will have will be a x1 plus b y1 plus c2. Now this value would be equal to c1, or I should say minus c1. So it will be c2 minus c1 or c1 minus c2, whichever is bigger. I'll take the absolute difference between their constant terms and divide it with the square of their coefficients, x and y coefficients. That will give me the distance between the two set of parallel lines. How to find out the area of the triangle with the three vertices? We have already done the case of centroid where the three vertices were given to you and you were able to find out the coordinates of a centroid. Now with the same thing, the three vertices are given to you, you have to find out the area of this triangle. One way of doing such thing is, you find out the length of the three sides by using the distance formula. Then you can use the Heron's formula to find out the area of the triangle, or you can find out other dimensions of this triangle and then use the other formula like half AB sine C or half into base into height to find out the area. If you don't want to do that and if you just want to find out the area with the help of the coordinates given to you, the formula that you will use would be half x1 into y2 minus y3 plus x2 into y3 minus y1 plus x3 into y1 minus y2. A thing to note here is there is no modulus sign. So it is very, very important to apply the formula correctly. If you goof up with 1, 2 and 3, that means x1 is replaced with x2 or x3, you will end up with the wrong answer. The thing that you'll have to maintain is it will always follow a cyclic order. 1, 2, 3. So if this is 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 1, 3, 1 and then 2. So this cyclic order has to be maintained to find out the area of the triangle. The incenter of such a triangle would be given by, now incenter is the point of concurrency of angle bisectors. The angle bisector of the three vertex angles would be concurrent at a point which is known as incenter. The various other properties of incenter, if you want to look at, you will have to move to the topic of geometry. But for the time being, I am only telling you how to find out the incenter using the coordinates. The formula that you would use would be ax1 into bx2 into cx3, ax1 plus bx2 plus cx3 over a plus b plus c and ay1 over ay1 plus by2 plus cy3 over a plus b plus c. So if you look at the figure on your right, which I am trying to make, this will be the three coordinates which are given to you. So the first thing that you have to do is find out the lengths of the three sides. The length of the three sides would be found out by using the distance formula. So I hope you remember the distance formula. We have done it in this presentation only. So you find out the length of the three sides using the distance formula. Then you multiply this length with the opposite vertex. So it will again be a case of weighted average that you have ax1 plus bx2 plus cx3 over a plus b plus c, and similarly ay1, by2, cy3 added up divided with a plus b plus c. Now, in case a parallelogram is given to you, let's look at this case of a parallelogram. The coordinates of the parallelogram vertices are given as x1, y1, x2, y2, x3, y3 and x4, y4. The point of intersection of the diagonal of the parallelogram would be treated as the midpoint of both the diagonals. So if I just name them as A, B, C, D, if I look at the diagonal AC, x and y would be the midpoint. If I look at the diagonal BD, x and y will be the midpoint. So x and y can be found out by x1 plus x3 by 3, x1 plus x3 by 2, midpoint, or x2 plus x4 by 2. So this thing will be same. Similarly, for the y coordinate, I can either refer to y1 plus y3 by 2 or y2 plus y4 by 2. So what I will understand here is, if I just look at this and this, x1 plus x3 will be actually equal to x2 plus x4, and y1 plus y3 would be equal to y2 plus y4. So if any of the coordinate for the vertex is missing, I can find out the missing vertex by using this result. The last case that we have is the case of a circle. So in case there is a circle with the center as hk and the radius r, and I have to write down the equation. So look on your right, there is a circle with center as hk and the radius as r. The equation of such a circle would be given by x minus h whole square plus y minus k whole square is equal to r square. So for example, if the center of the circle is at 2, 3 and the radius is 6, the equation would be written as x minus 2 whole square plus y minus 3 whole square is equal to 6 square or 36 on the right. This will be the equation representing a circle. There's another form in which the equation can be written, and that other form is just opening up the terms and rearranging them. So it is x square plus y square plus 2gx plus 2fy plus c is equal to 0. Now in this case, the center of the circle is at minus g and minus f. That will be the center of the circle, and the radius of the circle would be given by g square plus f square minus c. So that is the way in which the equation of the circle can be represented. It could be the one way or the other. Let's look at some of the questions that we have related to coordinate geometry. A line passing through the midpoint of the line joining points minus 2, minus 4 and minus 4, 6 has a slope of 3 by 4. Find the equation. So I have to find the equation of the line. Now what is the information which is given to me? Slope of the line is given to me. Slope of the line which is given to me is 3 by 4. The points are given to me. Now what is given to me? That this line passes through the midpoint. So I first need to find what are the midpoints of the line joining this. So if I remember the midpoint formula, it will be x1 plus x2 by 2 and y1 plus y2 by 2. So if I just move ahead and look at minus 2 minus 4 by 2 and minus 4 plus 6 by 2. So if I just, this will be minus 6 by 2 which will be minus 3, and this will be plus 2 by 2 which will be 1. So the line has a slope which is given to me m as 3 by 4 and is passing through. So that means I have a point also, and is passing through minus 3 and 1. So the formula that I will apply, or the equation that will help me out, is the point slope form. So it is y minus y1 equals to m times x minus x1. I would use the value for x1 and y1 as minus 3 and 1. So this will be y minus 1 equals to 3 by 4 x plus 3. I just have to rearrange the terms and I'll get my answer. So you can bring 4y on this side, and this will be 13 equals to 0. This will be the equation of the line which is passing through the point minus 3 and 1 and which has the slope of 3 by 4. Let's look at another question that we have. The other question is, find the equation of the line passing through. So this point is given to us. So that means the line is passing through this point and is parallel to the line joining the points. So there are 2 points which are given to me. One is minus 4 and 5 and another one is 2 and 3. So I can find out the slope of this line. Slope will be difference in the y coordinates over difference in the x coordinates. So it will be minus 2 by 6, which will be minus 1 by 3. So that will be the slope that I will get for this case. Now a line which is parallel to this line would have the same slope, which will be equal to minus 1 by 3. Again I have a point and I have the slope. So I will use the point slope form, which will be y minus y1 equals to m into x minus x1. Now y minus minus 4 would become plus 4 equals to minus 1 by 3 x minus 3. So again solving the equation, it will be 3y plus 12 is equal to minus x plus 3. So it will be x plus 3y plus 9 equals to 0, the equation that I will end up with. For the equation of the line which is passing through 3, 4, you can check 3 and minus 4 will be satisfying this equation. So 9 plus 9, 18. Sorry, 3 plus 9, which is 12, and 3 into minus 4, which is 12, and it has a slope of minus 1 by 3. Let's look at another question. Find the equation of the line that passes through 2 points. So 2 points are given to you. What is the equation that I will use? I will use a 2-point form. So any one of the given point you can take it as x1, and any one of the point you can take it as y1 or x2. So that is immaterial. You can just move ahead with any point as x1, y1 and another point as x2, y2. So my answer would be y minus y1, which will be plus 3, is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2. Sorry, this is minus 5 minus 2 into x minus x1. So the formula that you will end up with would be y plus 3 is equal to 7 over minus 7 into x minus 2. So this will be minus 1. Y plus 3 is equal to minus x plus 2, or the equation that you will get would be x plus y plus 1 is equal to 0. Now if you want to check this equation, you can put back these points in the equation and you can check the equation. So if I put 2 and minus 3, so it will be 2 minus 3 plus 1. Yes, it is equal to 0. So it is correct. Then if I put minus 5 plus 4 plus 1, is it equal to 0? Yes, it is equal to 0 that I have. Let's look at the fourth question. Find the equation of perpendicular bisector of the line joining the points. So the 2 points that are given to me are minus 5 and 4 and 2 and minus 3. So I have to find the equation of the line which is perpendicular bisector. Perpendicular means 90 degree, bisector means dividing into 2 equal parts. So that means this point will be actually the midpoint of this 2. If I remember the midpoint theorem, it will be the midpoint of x coordinates and the midpoint of the y coordinates. So this will be minus 3 by 2 and it will be 1 by 2. So this point is given by minus 3 by 2 and 1 by 2. Now if I look at the slope of this line, slope will be given by y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So which will be 4 minus minus 3, which will be 4 plus 3 in fact, and 5 minus 5 minus 2, which will be minus 7. So the slope of this line is minus 1. Now if it's a line which is perpendicular line, the product of the slopes would be equal to minus 1. So if this line has minus 1, m2 would be equal to plus 1. So you have to find the equation of a line which is a perpendicular bisector. That means this line L has a slope of plus 1 and is passing through the point minus 3 by 2 and 1 by 2. So again I can use the point slope form and get to my answer. So if I use the point slope form, I get y minus y1 equals to slope into x minus x1. You can take the LCM and readjust the terms to get to your answer, or you can just look at the terms like that only. 3 by 2 plus 1 by 2, which will be 4 by 2, which will be 2. So this will be the equation of the line which is perpendicular to the given line. Another question that we have is, the vertices of the triangle are given to you. Find the equation of the median from the vertex 2 to the opposite side. Now the only thing that you need to understand is what is the median. Median is the line from the vertex joining the midpoint of the base. Midpoint of the base. So if you look at the triangle, this is the triangle that we have. The three vertices that are given to us are 2, 2, 1, 3 and 3 and minus 5. I'm not drawing these figures to the scale because this is actually not needed to me in the question. If I do that thing, that will be a wastage of my precious time. So what I'm doing is I'm joining this with this median. Median means midpoint. So it will be, I'll be using the midpoint formula for x and y coordinates. So this will be 4 by 2, 2. This will be minus 2 by 2, which is minus 1. So this is 2 and minus 1. So I have to find the equation of this line which starts from 2, 2 and ends at 2 minus 1. So this is basically a 2-point form that I'll be applying. One point is 2, 2, another point is 2 and minus 1. So I can find out the equation using this, using y minus y1 equals to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 into x minus x1. You can again take any1 as x1 or y1 or anything as x2, y2, your wish. So I am just using y minus 2 is equal to minus 1 minus 2 over 2 minus 2. Now if you look here, this thing is coming out to be, this thing is coming out to be 0. Right? When you have 0, what does that mean? This means this line is making, if you look at tan 90, what is it? Infinite. This line that you have is perpendicular to the x-axis. So it will be a line which will be like this. Perpendicular to the x-axis is what you have. This point is 2, 2. This point is 2 and minus 1. This is exactly a point which is making an angle of 90 degrees. So if the angle is 90 degree, the slope would be coming out to be, what? Tan of 90, which would be undefined. So if you look here, the equation of this line would be given as y minus 2 is equal to 0 or y is equal to 2. That will be the answer that we'll have. So it will be a straight line that we'll have and would be represented by y is equal to 2. The equation would be. Let's look at another question. The question is, find the equation of the line passing through the intersection of this and this, which is also perpendicular to the line this. So line is passing through the intersection of this and this. So that means I first need to find out the point of intersection. So if I look at these, 4x minus y minus 3 is equal to 0 and x plus y minus 2 is equal to 0. If I add them up, this cancels out. It will be 5x equal to 5, x is equal to 1. If I put back in any of the equations, I will have y is equal to 1. So this is the equation that I have solved earlier also. So it is a line which is passing through point 1, 1 and perpendicular. Perpendicular means again I need to look at the slope. So what is the slope of this line? If I look at the slope of this line, is given by minus coefficient of x over coefficient of y. So the slope of this line is 2 by 5. The slope of a line perpendicular to this would be given by m2 would be minus 5 by 2. So I have to find the equation of a line passing through the point this and perpendicular to this line. So I can just do one thing. I can put 5x and plus 2y, because the slope of this line would be given as minus coefficient of x over coefficient of y plus c is equal to 0. Now this line has to pass from 1, 1. So 1, 1 should satisfy the equation. That means 5 plus 2 plus c should be equal to 0. That means c is coming out to be minus 7. So the equation that you get is 5x plus 2y minus 7 equals to 0. Or you can follow the concept of point slope form to get to your answer. So if I just follow the point slope form, it will be y minus 1 equals to minus 5 by 2 x minus 1. So this will be 2y minus 2 is equal to minus 5y minus 5. So this will be 5x plus 2y, sorry, this will be plus, I'll get minus 7 equals to 0, that I'll get, which is the same that I have found out without using the formula. Thank you so much for watching the video. Hope your concept of coordinate geometry are clear. In case you want to practice more questions on coordinate geometry, you can visit to our website edusathi.com, and you'll have various practice tests on coordinate geometry and other topics of algebra as well. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.